This has got a little bit of a whiff of orange flex, which in my day was things like the lawn mower and hedge trimmer, and it seems quite small. What is it currently feeding?
So it's actually feeding at the minute some appliances in the kitchen. So we've got a cooker.
Right.
It's actually a gas cooker, however, it needs a power supply for the ignition and for the clock. It's also feeding a washing machine as well.
It's just come through here, is it? Just use it as a route through?
Yeah, so short part of the story is the customer rung me to quote because they had this wire and they just wanted that wire removing because they didn't like it like this. So I actually come around to quote and the first thing I looked at and I thought, wait there a minute, we've got a cable in that light switch. It's going to a plug top. I hope it isn't feeding this plug and the actual plug top's live. So I obviously had to do some further investigation, and that's when I sort of said to the customer, it might be a good idea to have an EICR condition report just to have a look at how things have been done, because you see stuff like that which the kitchen fitter did. We all know they're qualified electricians.
Walk the route through, so it comes past the light switch but doesn't, goes into a plug and extension lead, follows the extension lead and then is plugged into the socket. So it's sending that supply out on the wall we saw outside, comes through that route, and then is at a socket up here. But when you got there, how many conductors did you have in it?
Yeah, so there's only two. And again, part of an EICR is looking at the fixed wiring, and maybe we don't necessarily have to worry too much about anything that's on a plug top because it's not part of the fixed wire of the installation. However, when then I go to test certain points and realise that actually this oven here, the washing machine, doesn't have a means of connection to earth because that is only a 2-core flex.
And when we do a little bit further investigation, the competent person scheme comes in, because when we look at the socket over here, we had a lot of cables in there. First of all, they were all flex, and one of them was enormously long in length, wasn't it?
Oh, very long.
So that first of all question comes up: can you wire final circuits in flex?
Well, again, I was sort of under the pretense of I wasn't 100% sure, to be honest. So this is where I spoke to my competent person scheme, and I said, look, the kitchen, and obviously a massive part of an EICR is the inspection, because if you just plug in to do, let's say, a loop test, you're not going to know what's going on behind it. You might get an absolute perfect reading and actually there might be some little issues behind it. So I spoke to my competent person scheme and they sort of explained that we can actually use the flex. The flex is fine. However, they had some recommendations, ferrule the ends to ensure a good connection in the terminals. So
and I'd love for somebody to put it in the comments if they are an electrician not studying. If you are studying, you'd have to go back and look at it. I think it was around about the 16th edition, from memory. It seems such a long time ago. That was even when I was starting out, that final circuits could be in flex, even though I think the more mature electrician, which I'd put myself in category, would look at it and go, you can't do that. We can't do that.
It's not very good. But when you look at the, sometimes you look at a circuit and it might be wired in a cable you're not so familiar, can be used as a final circuit. However, when you look at how it's been done, then that obviously screams issues to me, because it's obviously been thrown in there. The back box was just loose, it wasn't screwed up at all. We've got a mixture of 2.5mm squared flex, and we also have, I believe, the problem is there's no markings on it to ensure the voltage rating and things like that, and the size. The white cables do look like a 2.5mm squared flex, but the black maybe hints at 1.5. So,
and what about the 2-core that's in there?
So we've actually got 2-core here for undercovered light, which was just connected in the back. And I know there's always that argument where we can omit the need of an overcurrent protection device depending on whether the load is actually going to be possibly be able to draw more current than the cable can carry, which in this case probably not the case. However, I still don't necessarily like to see it when there's better ways to do it. Whether we fit a fuse connection unit under here and downgrade the fuse to suit. But what the customers actually request is if we can just put it on a plug top, because they don't really use it.